The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond, you're listening to the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders.
You're checking out a special edition of the RCWR Show on September 26, 2013. Just a couple of minutes past the 10:30 hour on the East Coast. Very good evening to you all. Yeah, it's a special episode of the RCWR Show. I know usually for you TNA wrestling fans, you guys are used to getting your installment of Impact Showdown, but we're doing a very special episode of the RCWR Show instead, and for very good reason. We have the one and only from VH1 Classics, That Metal Show, Mr. Eddie Trunk. He's going to be joining us. That's going to be at the top of the hour at 11 p.m., so in just about 30 minutes. But we decided to come on live right now for you guys to talk a little bit about wrestling, also talk about what's going on in the latest and wrestling-related news as far as TNA goes, as we are just anticipating this one-on-one interview with Eddie Trunk. Also, we're going to be giving away copies of his new book that was just released earlier this week, Eddie Trunk's Essential Hard Rock and Heavy Metal, Volume 2. The book is phenomenally good. I can't stress it enough. I have received an early copy of the book a few weeks before its release, and I must say it is just a book that I finished reading it finally today, and I'm reading it again. It's just that good. It's a really good read. Would highly encourage you guys to check it out. That is, if you aren't able to win a free copy, on behalf of us and our good friends over at Abrams Books for making this giveaway be possible. Now, we have put out a couple of tweets last week, definitely during this week, letting you guys know that there's 3 passwords floating around on our website at InfinityOneProductions.com. All you got to do is just go to that website. That's Infinity with an E and an actual number 1 in there, and you got the rest, InfinityOneProductions.com. You go there. There's an article that's related to this prize giveaway that we're doing. You just give me one of those 3 passwords when I put you on the air, as we give you the call-in number and all that, and you win a copy. Now, some folks, they may have not caught that in time. Well, we're going to actually do something a little bit extra special. Long as you call into the show, you're waiting on cue. If we haven't ran out of copies, as it's very, very limited, then you can definitely get a copy. So for those of you that's listening right now, whether it be on your browser or your respective portable device, you name it. Maybe you're pushing your cell phone. The number you want to put out there when we get ready to put you live on the air, you want to make sure you call 646-478-3525. Once again, that's 646-478-3525. Listen to the prompts to get yourself live on the air. We got one caller that it looks like is on the hold, is on hold now. So, and that's the way we're going to be doing it. As long as you call into the show and you press that little Q button, I'm paying attention to who's been on hold the longest. So that's how we're going to be passing out copies of the book tonight. And, yeah, I'm pumped up, man. I've been looking forward to this sit-down interview with Mr. Eddie Trunk. God, at least all week long. I'm so pumped up for this. I know there's many of you guys that's probably pumped up for this as well, so it should be a damn good show. For those of you wrestling fans, we're definitely going to be talking a little bit about wrestling tonight. I know that Impact Wrestling is on right now. I have been watching it throughout the course of the night, making some notes. Right now, we are watching the main event of the night as we're seeing Samoa Joe, Magnus, and Sting of Main Event Mafia take on the Aces and Eights, Wes Briscoe, Garrett Bischoff, and Mike Nux. And there is a lot at stake for this respected match. It looks like for the losing team, that being Aces and Eights, should they lose, one of their own is going to be given the pink slip. so you can't really help but wonder how this is going to play out. And this was courtesy of their president, a.k.a. do you know who I am? Bully Ray, who is still just not too fond of the events that had went down last week. Definitely not fond of what had went down this week as they took little verbal cheap shots at his girlfriend again. You know how it is on Impact, bros before hoes. That's the name of the game right there. But yeah, it looks like it's a pretty good main event match right now. We'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. Of course, this is not the main attraction of the night. The main attraction is actually going to be the one and only Hulk Hogan, brother, going face to face with, get this, AJ Styles, as he's trying to smooth things out between Styles and Dixie Carter from the so-called pipe bomb moment that had went down last week that still has many of you fans talking and wondering just what exactly is going on with Dixie Carter. Is she going heel, whatnot? And we gave you guys some really good sound bites about that, by the way. I know me and co-host Joe Rodriguez, we were talking about it on last weekend's edition of the RCWR show. If you haven't checked that out, we actually posted a couple of highlights from that weekend episode on our YouTube channel. Just hop on over at the RCWR show, and you'll be able to find it that way. But we said some pretty interesting things about this whole Dixie Carter going heel angle, but I don't want to spoil it for you guys that haven't checked it out yet. All right. Hey, as always, be a friend. Follow us on Twitter at the RCWR Show. You can also like us on Facebook at Infinity One Productions. We got episodes hooked up for you guys on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, and Stitcher. Just use those keywords I mentioned earlier. Got an update for that main event for you guys. It looks like Magnus, Sting, Samoa Joe, they have picked up the victory over Aces and Eights, despite what looks to be no cameo from Ego, as they did talk briefly about possibly interfering in this match. Hopefully I didn't miss anything right there, but it looks like the one that got pinned was Wes Briscoe, as Garrett Bischoff looks on outside the ring just in shock. You can only wonder what this means for the future of Aces and Eights. And we are now seeing the one and only Bully Ray come out with Brooke Tessmacher, pushing Daisy Dukes ever so lovely. Looks like they're still coming in here. Bully Ray, see what he's getting ready to do right here. He's just looking at Wes Briscoe. He's calling for a microphone right now. And I believe he's getting ready to give him the pink slip. So I have like this on mute right now, so I do not have closed captioning, so I am just going with the flow right here and trying to see what's going to go down. I'm going to put a prediction, as this is somewhat live right now. I know they have probably like a couple of minutes delay. I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to say that probably Mike Nux is probably going to interfere in this. He's probably going to intervene and get in the face of Bully Ray, and it's probably going to send him grabbing the hand of Brooke Tessmacher to go flying to the backstage area. That's how I'm calling it right now. I could be wrong, but we'll wait and see. And as they are continuing to mouth off, for those of you that's a little bit curious about what's been going on with Joe Rodriguez, we do have an update for you guys. Joe Rodriguez, co-host, he is still out in PA. He is up there for the entire week doing a job conference as he just started a new gig. And where he is, I feel so bad for the guy. He is up there in the middle of nowhere, like mountains, just bears, lions, oh my. Well, I don't know about the lion part, but it's definitely very just isolated where he is. So the signal out there, it's very bad. And as a result of that, he hasn't been able to join me on the shows all this week. I got a new update from him today, though, and I know he wanted for me to tell you guys that he definitely can't wait to come back to the show, as he missed doing our usual spat on the weekly shows. And also he's got a couple other things that he's going to be talking about with us when he comes back. But last I checked, I think he's going to be up there until this Saturday. Then he's going to come on back home to the city in New York City, that is. So pretty pumped up for that. That should be pretty awesome. And what we're seeing right now, for those of you joining us, we are seeing Impact Wrestling live in progress right now. It looks as though Bully Ray, he's giving Nux and Garrett a choice. Either they lose their cut, or it's going to be Wes Briscoe, or, the way he's playing it now, one of them could take Briscoe's place. So looks like they have to choose either one of them, or they beat down Wes Briscoe and officially kick him out of the stable. Garrett and Nux, they do not look too pleased with this decision, as Bully Ray just attacked Wes. And he's looking at Nux and Garrett, taunting them, wanting them to do something. They are not doing anything. If anything, they're trying to get Bully Ray to back down. They are trying to get him to not do this to Wes, but he is not. No, he's picking up Briscoe now. He's setting him up for a pile driver. Let's see if he connects. And he does connect with the pile driver in the middle of the ring to leave him laid out. Of course, you know the pile driver, it's somewhat of a taboo move now because of the serious injuries that have been done to the wrestler's neck. If you want to ask anybody, just ask WWE Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin. He can tell you a little bit about that. Bully Ray talking a little bit of smack. So we pretty much see where this is going right here as it's getting ready to go to commercial break to set us up for the main event match. So we'll just take a pause right there and welcome those of you that's tuning in right now. All right, so for those of you that might have missed a little bit of the action for tonight's episode, as you know, some of these fall TV series have just been continuing to just pop up. We got a lot of shows that's returning. We even have a lot of shows that's new that's been premiering all week long. I know one of the ones that I can't wait to check out, and I have it on my DVR right now, is the Michael J. Fox show that had premiered tonight. And I know also we had the new Robin Williams show over on CBS. Name's on the tip of my tongue. I can't really recall what it is right now, but I know it has Sarah Michelle Gellar in it, and if you remember her, you know her from the TV series Buffy. But it looks like those two iconic actors, looks like they're going back and forth with one another because they're coming on at the exact same time, but on different networks. So it's kind of like, ooh, who are you going to watch? A little bit crazy right there, but we saw them premiere. Who else premiered this week? We had Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the 80s retro sitcom, The Goldbergs, Law & Order, Special Victims Unit had returned. A new series called Blacklist with James Spader. Kind of gives off a little bit of a Hannibal Lecter type of mode or vibe. I'm not sure if you guys are picking that up, but a lot of shows have just been making their rounds premiering. But talk about tough competition, too, you know, especially if you're a wrestling fan. So for those of you that might have been a little bit distracted checking out some of those hit series, we do have updates for you guys on what you might have missed from Impact Wrestling tonight. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we got to make sure that we sync up to our guest, Eddie, who's going to be dropping in at the 11 o'clock hour. So let's just fire off, run right through it right here. We told you about that main event match already, but other action that we saw on tonight's episode, we saw Robbie E. and Jesse, the Bromance, team up with Gail Kim to try to take on Joseph Park, Eric Young, and the Knockouts champion, ODB. Well, never pays to be the bad guy because they came up so short. But, you know, what was it that I said a couple of weeks ago when it looked as though Robbie E., Jesse were possibly going to be in a position where they were going to be getting a little bit more camera time because they were kind of toying around there with EY and Joseph Park. And remember, I don't know for those of you that might remember, but I said that a couple of weeks ago, I said, hey, these two guys, they're back. It would be kind of badass to maybe see them be put into regular TV rotation. They're young, and you know they got a lot going on for them. TNA needs to capitalize on it, so it's very nice to see them capitalize on these guys. Also, we saw Austin Aries and Kenny King in a classic encounter. I was really enjoying this. we saw Austin Aries. He came out to cut a promo basically talking about how he came up short with the BFG series, but that despite that, he still has his eyes on the prize and that he's someday going to become champion. And he was giving a really great speech. For those of you that saw Raw this week, it was kind of a watered-down version of the promo that CM Punk had cut in front of his hometown crowd in Chicago there. But we saw Kenny King come out. Kenny King, we pretty much hadn't seen this guy since he lost the X Division title in a triple threat match. Remember, it was he, Chris Sabin, and Manic. And, of course, we all found out later on that night that when Manic won that X Division title, the guy under the mask was not Manic. It was actually Austin Aries. But we pretty much hadn't seen Kenny King since that moment. Awesome to see him back tonight, and he had some very interesting words to say to Kenny King. He had some very interesting words to say to Austin Aries, which was basically he hadn't forgot what had happened with what had went down in that match they had a couple of months back. Basically, payback is a bitch. And from there, Austin Aries, he said, look, you're talking a good game. Let's have a match. And a classic match that it was. One thing I should point out, though, they took a commercial break. And when they came back, Kenny King was bloodied. I mean, big-time bloodied from the forehead. Some of you may be saying, it was fake blood. No, it was real, and it was very bad. I mean, at a couple of points during the match, you could actually hear Kenny King say to the camera guy, I'm still bleeding. I guess he was just amazed at the amount of blood that was dripping from his forehead. Honestly, to me, it looked as though it was a very bad blade job. That's the best way I can put it for you guys. It was a very bad blade job, but it was a damn good match as we saw Austin Aries pick up the win with the double spine buster. Also, not really too many more matches to talk about. The other match that we had was Chris Sabin, who had lost to Manic for the X Division title. That was another match that was actually pretty good. Chris Sabin, he kept trying to get his girlfriend, Velvet Sky, involved, kept trying to use her as a shield. But at the very least, it was a good attempt, but he came up very short as Manic was able to turn the ties post-match. Sabin, very upset that he had lost. He didn't get the X Division title. He beat down on Manic like it was no tomorrow, but we saw Austin Aries come out. So the way this is looking right now, it's possibly maybe going to be some type of a three-way dance or maybe a four-way dance for the X Division title. I'm not really sure, but at least those are the seeds that it seems like that they're kind of planning right here. Honestly, I wouldn't mind them doing a triple threat or a fatal four-way to set up that Bound for Glory pay-per-view October 20th. It'd be pretty good. And, yeah, pretty short episode tonight. We got the main attraction happening right now. We got Hulk Hogan talking to AJ Styles. Looks like he got some type of paperwork in his hand. Okay, this is obvious where this is going for those of you that need to be caught up to speed. Apparently AJ Styles is not under contract right now under TNA Wrestling, and it looks like Hulk Hogan is trying to offer him a deal. Now, if you guys are following me on Twitter at the RCWR Show, you know I had put out a very interesting tweet where I said, hey, bear in mind, Hulk Hogan's contract with TNA is supposed to expire on October 1st. As a result of that, it's possible TNA, they may be getting ready to write him off television as a result of that, as all signs are kind of pointing to he may not resign with the company. I know many of you fans have been very vocal about that. You want for the Hulkster to go on back to WWE. I hope for your sake you get what you're wishing, fingers crossed, but honestly, and this is like somewhat live, we know it's a little bit of a tape delay. I'm thinking by about maybe 5-10 minutes, but despite that, I think what we're probably going to end up seeing, even though it hasn't gone down yet, is maybe Dixie Carter come out and basically question Hulk Hogan's management skills and say, how the hell could you offer this guy a contract after what he said to me last week. Hulk Hogan, you're fired. And right on cue, we see the TNA president, Dixie Carter, come out. And we're going to take a pause right there.
Now you can access even more great episodes of the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown Live just by checking out our YouTube channel through your Xbox or PlayStation game console. That's right, just go check out the YouTube app, and then from there, check us out at the RCWR Show. That's our channel handle. From there, you'll be able to see all the great exclusive content that we upload on that channel on a weekly basis. Episodes are also available in the iTunes Store just by checking out the free podcast app. Download that from the iTunes Store and then search for us using the keywords the RCWR Show or Impact Showdown Radio, and you'll be able to subscribe to us. It's as easy as that. Now, if you're outside of the iDevices, then you definitely want to check out the Stitcher app. It allows you to play episodes on your smartphone, Android, all respective portable devices. Stitcher, new and smart way to play internet radio.
All right, we are back. You are checking now the Thursday night edition of the RCWR Show, coming at you on September 26, 2013. A very good evening to you folks. We gave away one copy of our book. I have 2 copies left for you guys that are interested. Number to call, 646-478-3525. Once again, 646-478-3525. If you guys had missed our interview with Eddie Trunk, we had been going at it for at least almost 30 minutes. If you missed it, you definitely want to make sure after this episode is over, you do yourself a favor and you hit that rewind button or you hit that download button and check it out. You know, as long as I have been doing internet radio, and I've been doing it since late 2011, the kind words that was given to me by Doug really, really got to the heart. Doug had told me how much he had appreciated that interview that we did with Eddie. He said it was one of the most awesome interviews that he heard pretty much since Eddie has been doing his book tour. And, hey, we really appreciate that, and I can't stress this enough. For those of you that are listening to this right now or you're listening to it on the downloads, if you enjoyed that interview that we did with Eddie, do yourself a huge favor. Do us a huge favor, please. And it's not every day I say please, but definitely make sure that you spread that episode around. You let folks know about it, let them know about us, and, hey, let them check it out, and we appreciate that. That's how it pretty much works. It's word of mouth, and honestly, we really wouldn't be where we are right now without the continued support of you, our listeners. So for that, we thank you guys tremendously. If you want to get a copy of Eddie Trunk's book, once again, 646-478-3525, password or no password. But if you know the password, I will say this. You will get an extra little bonus if you know the password. If you don't know the password, you're just going to get the book. But if you know the password, you get a little bit of an extra bonus. Whatever books we aren't able to give away on tonight's show, we'll probably try to see if maybe we can give some more copies of Eddie's books away this weekend on the RCWR Show. As we're getting ready to wind down with this episode, I definitely want to talk about what had went down in the final segment of Impact Wrestling tonight for those of you that might have missed it. As we did come on live during tonight's episode, it looks like in the final few minutes of Impact, Hulk Hogan, he did, in fact, offer AJ Styles a contract, of which AJ Styles had signed. Once it was said and over with, AJ Styles, he rolled out. We did see Dixie Carter get in the ring, and she pretty much chewed up Hulk Hogan, basically saying to him, hey, I really wish that you would have ran this by me first. You really got me wondering, Hulk, just whose team are you on? Are you with Team Dixie? I tell you what, Hulkster, you got a week to make up your mind. So it looks like the way this is going right now, either Hogan is going to be siding with Dixie Carter, as now it's kind of looking as though maybe she's kind of going that heel route, but I'm still not going to sit up and say that what we saw of her tonight compared to what we saw of her last week would be something called a heel turn. I think she's just being a more tougher boss. I think now she's bringing out that mean streak, that streak that we've been waiting to see for such a long period of time. Think about it. How many years have we gotten the sweet, the nice, the innocent Dixie Carter, always trying to do the right thing? Seems like now she's being a little bit more, you know what, I don't have to put up with this shit. That's the kind of attitude I'm kind of picking up from her nowadays. So I'm not seeing anything full-blown heel just yet, but I like the position that she has put the Hulkster in, as it's looking as though they are possibly going to be writing him off of television, as his TNA contract does expire on October 1st. Now, TNA Impact is taping next week's episode as we speak. So, you know, all you got to do is hop on over to YouTube Friday evening, and we're actually going to have the spoilers up for you guys, for those of you that can't wait. We will have it up for you guys, so make sure that you check that out. Should be pretty freaking awesome. But, yeah, the way this is looking right now, they are going to be writing him off television. One other thing that we should note from tonight's Impact Wrestling broadcast, it looks like two people are going to be making their debut, if you will, in the promotion in the coming weeks. Lady Tappa is returning to Impact Wrestling. Of course, you all may remember her earlier this year when she had a TNA gut check tryout match against Real Ivelisse Velez, Real Ivelisse on Twitter. Of course, she is doing her thing down at Shine Wrestling in that great all-female stable, Valkyrie. We saw Lady Tappa lose to Ivelisse, but despite that, Ivelisse was not given the TNA contract. It was actually Lady Tappa, and we pretty much hadn't seen her since. Saw a great little video package of her tonight letting us know that she's coming. So, really, I think the timing is right for that. Honestly, the Knockouts division, they need all the help they can get right now, because as it stands, we only have Gail Kim, ODB, Velvet Sky, and Brooke Tessmacher are acting as valets, so they're pretty much eliminated right now. Knockouts needs all the help it can get right now. Otherwise, you should really just go on ahead and just vacate that title altogether. Also, we have somebody by the name of Ethan that's going to be making their debut soon. We didn't see who this person was, but the way that the text logo had looked, as it had this really cool rhinestone gems and stuff in it, kind of gave off a MVP vibe. You know what I'm saying, folks? Like a Montel Vontavious Porter from the WWE. I'm not really sure if you guys agree with that statement or not. I know I'm probably kind of reaching there, but that's just how the text looked to me. I could be wrong with that, but then I'm also keeping into mind Montel Vontavious Porter. If I'm not mistaken, and somebody correct me on this with a tweet or what have you, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe he lives in the Florida area. So 2 and 2 is 4, right? Wait and see. Hopefully they start doing some video packages where we can see little bits of silhouettes of how this guy looks, or they can just show him all together. Also, Kurt Angle, he will be coming back to Impact Wrestling, but not in the way that you think, at least the way they're making it seem on television, to say the least. Looks like Kurt Angle will definitely be returning at this year's Bound for Glory pay-per-view on October 20th, as he will be inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame, second inductee, by the way. But it's official. Kurt Angle will officially be making his return, since he went on hiatus back in late July for having those alcohol problems. I don't even want to go into details about all that, but you guys know he pretty much had entered rehab, and although the stay there wasn't long, Seems like he's been able to keep himself out of trouble since leaving. Maybe he's finally woken up. Only time will tell. But looks like he'll be returning there. I'm actually excited for that. I actually can't wait to see Kurt get inducted into the Hall of Fame. That should be some good stuff. TNA Wrestling news-wise, it's been relatively quiet. I know one of the main things that has a lot of fans talking right now is what exactly is going on with Mickie James and Ken Anderson. When was the last time you folks had went to the ImpactWrestling.com site? If it's been a while, then one of the first things you may notice, if you notice it enough, is when you look at the TNA roster. Well, Mickie James and Mr. Anderson's profiles have been removed from the website. And usually when stuff like this goes down, it's a sign that the wrestlers, they have left the company, all negotiations have been exhausted, that's it, they're done. So Mr. Anderson, Mickie James, they aren't really saying anything right now. They haven't released any type of statement or what have you. I would think that maybe both parties are still trying to iron out some type of a new deal if they can come to terms on a new one. But the way things are looking right now, looks as though they possibly might be done with the company. And quite honestly, I think Mr. Anderson, I think he's kind of run his course in TNA. Don't get me wrong. I think it was kind of awesome what we had saw of him laugh as he was going at it with Bully Ray. And it is kind of nice that they ended it in a way where Anderson got severely injured by Bully Ray. He could come back for revenge. If done right, he could come back in time for the Bound for Glory pay-per-view and basically cost Bully Ray the TNA championship. Thus, this would set up Bully Ray taking on Anderson in probably one of maybe 2, maybe 3 matches. But whether or not it's going to happen, that remains to be seen. As far as Mickie James goes, I think she's done absolutely everything that is humanly possible in the sport of professional wrestling. I think she's done everything that has been asked of her to do in TNA wrestling. There really isn't that much more she can do. Honestly, and I've been a fan of Mickie James. I've said this time and time again, and I do mean this from the heart. I've been a fan of her work for many years, since before she even came to the WWE. I was watching her when she was calling herself Alexis Lurie, and she was going around wrestling with her sister, okay? That's how long I've been watching her. And honestly, I think maybe she might be getting to that point where maybe she might want to focus on her music career, maybe enjoy having a normal life for a change, just for a little bit, to take a breather. And when she does decide she want to get back into wrestling, she's probably going to just try the independent circuit for a little bit. That really wouldn't surprise me too much. I know there's a lot of folks that would love to see her go back to the WWE. I definitely would love to see something like that play out as well, as it's slowly but surely looking like the Divas division is starting to get built back up to where it once was a couple of years back. But I have concern about her as far as handling the schedule. I'm not really sure if she can handle a WWE workload, not unless she was to get some type of a similar deal to what Brock Lesnar and Rob Van Dam has. Unless she's going to get something like that, there's no telling how long she may last in the WWE. But anything is possible. These are 2 stories that we're just going to make sure that we continue to stay on top of for you guys. Other TNA wrestling news that I want to share with you guys. WWE Hall of Famer Jim Ross. And there's a reason why I'm mentioning to this name and why it links up to TNA. A fan had questioned him on his JR's Barbecue blog. He asked him if he would be interested in joining TNA following his quiet firing from the WWE. Basically, the question was put this way: Hey, Jim, now that you are no longer with WWE, would you consider joining TNA as a commentator or a creative role or even a job as talent relations as you had done previously in the WWF/E? Have a nice day, Jim. JR's answer? No interest whatsoever at this time. Moving on two other things. So whether or not that's a curveball or not, he could just be saying that and something actually could be going on, or maybe JR is actually moving on with himself and moving on from wrestling. Take that for what it's worth. We got another little piece of TNA news that we want to share with you guys, kind of sticking to that same theme. Recently, Jim Cornette, who gave an interview, had talked on a variety of wrestling subjects. One of the questions he was asked was about a potential return to TNA, and he said the following. This is a little bit lengthy, but it's not that long, but let me go through it. Direct quote right here. "Oh, my God, if she, Dixie Carter, called me and asked me to take this place over, I would hang up quickly and take 3 Xanax. As one top star that shall remain nameless who worked for the WWE for many years and is now semi-retired, I'm not going to say you're never going to see him in public again, but he is not out there every week, said, if I go to TNA, it's a cry to be euthanized. If Dixie called the first words out of her mouth, better, I apologize to you for lying to you and to your face and over the phone and about you when I departed the company. Then I might listen to what she had to say, but not go on the road anywhere near close to full time. And I don't know why I'm saying that right now, because it might make her call me. Probably not. I told Dutch Mantel, a.k.a. Zeb Coulter in the WWE, the people that have the money don't know about the people that know. Wait, what is he trying to say? This sounds so confusing. The people that have the money don't know how, and the people that know how don't have the money. That's why wrestling is in the state that it's in, and unfortunately Dixie has listened to the wrong people and continues to, and has been led to the primrose path, and I would feel sorry for her, except that she lied to me in the last conversation that we had, and I don't like that very much. People that lie to me generally get banished or vanish to the planet Pluto in my mind. Hot damn. That's all I got to say about that. I'm not adding any more to that. I'll let you guys just soak that up for what it's worth. Other than that, boys and girls, it looks like that is pretty much it. It's relatively been quiet. Well, there's one other thing that I thought was kind of interesting. Let me just pull this one. This one was funny. This actually has to do with Chris Jericho, who was recently interviewed, and he criticized the Bound for Glory series concept, saying, I don't watch the show, but the Bound for Glory, and he's got 18 pounds, and he's got 15 points, and it's a 12-week tournament, and it's like, who has time to follow this stuff? When I watch wrestling, I don't want to think. I just want to enjoy it. I don't want to do mathematical equations and figure it out. If there is a round robin and here are your brackets, and I get it. But if you win, you get disqualified. If you get 5 points or 12 points, I don't get it. I'll just put on Seinfeld instead. Wow. Well, honestly, and this is for real, I agree with Jericho. I said this, and I don't want you guys thinking that I've been kicking back and I'm just kind of drinking anybody's Kool-Aid. If you've been listening to our show long enough, you know I've gone on record many times and I've criticized the Bound for Glory series. I think it's a good tournament and all, but the one thing that is always nerve-wracking, wait a minute, how many points did this guy get? So wait, because it was a DQ, he lost this amount of points, right? So this would put him, it's really, really just mind-boggling because you have to sit down, and you got to get the pen and paper, and you're trying to figure out who's who, who's leading, and it's really crazy. I wish they would just let it be about the wins and the losses, quite honestly. Just let it be at that. Enough said. Wins, losses. no points. Just get rid of the whole point system. I appreciate the fact that they're trying to make it be as innovative and original as possible. I really do. But at the end of the day, you want folks to kick back and enjoy themselves. They're supposed to be watching two guys get it on in the ring, just beating the crap out of one another. Do we really want to put math into it? Well, then again, our sponsor tonight is Math Maze. Maybe for those of you that might be having a hard time keeping up with the math. I know that was a shameless plug for Math Maze. I know, I get that. But, hey, I couldn't resist. I'm sorry, guys. Hey, yes, tonight's episode is being sponsored in part by Math Maze. MathMaze.us. Go to MathMaze.us. Okay, I'm done with the plug-in. That's it, man. I think we had a very good show tonight. I want to give you guys some quick programming notes. This Friday night, we're going to be on with a special simulcast. We're going to be covering Fallout from the Shine Wrestling 13 pay-per-view from Ybor City, Florida. We will be doing that simulcast for you guys here on Blog Talk and over on our YouTube channel, all times Eastern. So make sure if you're not following us on Twitter, you do so right now at the RCWR Show or over at Infinity One Prod. If you want to follow me personally, you can hit me up at Mr. Sandman Lee. But make sure you say hello if you do end up following me so I know who you are, because I have a tendency to block people that I don't know on that personal Twitter handle. So if you end up following me and it's the show that had brought you, definitely make sure you go out of your way to send me a tweet. And Saturday, we got the weekend edition of the RCWR Show. We will be covering for you guys the very latest and what you might have missed from a week in wrestling. But on top of all that, we're going to review the new Triple H DVD for you guys. For you guys that listen to us on Tuesday night, you know that we were supposed to review the DVD for you all on that episode. But my local Kmart store did not have the Blu-ray copy, as the Blu-ray copy has tons and tons and tons of goodies. Well, my girl did me something very awesome yesterday. She got a hold of a Blu-ray copy for me. I will be kicking back watching that after work Friday night. I will have a full review for you guys on the Saturday show. So make sure that you check that out for those of you that are a little bit on the fence about buying this new DVD. If you want to know if it's a buy, a rental, or just skip it altogether, weekend edition of the RCWR Show, you'll want to check out. For the very latest in wrestling-related news, entertainment, pop culture, and beyond, do yourself a favor. Look us up in iTunes and TuneIn Radio. We'll also have episodes on Stitcher. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. Represent. We got merchandise for you guys. You can buy T-shirts at our website at InfinityOneProductions.com, or you can now go to our store that just launched at Pro Wrestling Tees. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com/RCWR, and you'll be able to see our merchandise right there. You know, yours truly is in the fine arts field and graphic design. So in the coming weeks, I will be sitting down to work on some new logos for our show. If there's something you want to maybe see that would be cool for a T-shirt design, shoot me a tweet. Follow me on Facebook, the show on Facebook at Infinity One Productions, and let me know. And I'll be more than happy to listen to some of your ideas. But that's going to do it. We had a really good show tonight. I really hope you guys had appreciated the Eddie Trunk interview. And definitely, one more time, we got to show love to VH1 Classics, Mr. Eddie Trunk, for stopping by this show. It was truly an honor to interview such a awesome guy. I'm already looking forward to seeing him come on by the show again. And also, be sure to pick up a copy of his new book in stores right now, Eddie Trunk's Essential Hard Rock and Heavy Metal, Volume 2. For those of you that maybe don't know the password, or maybe hard rock might not be your cup of tea, if you know somebody that is into it, then you definitely want to make sure you let them know that we are going to continue to give away copies of Eddie's book. Next opportunity will be on our Saturday show. I bid you guys a very good night and good morning as we're now going into Friday. Pleased to meet you. Nice to know me, Black Avenger Lee Sanders. Wishing all y'all to be safe and be kind to one another, folks.